there's no better place to learn things than on set. But don't think you're going to learn something that involves high skills, after you get the job.
Right.
They flew me to Shanghai to partner Jet Li for a movie called Fearless.
Yes, we're very familiar with that.
I had to bring my A game because literally we had no rehearsal.
Really?
They were 5 days behind. The one thing I missed was I was looking forward to working with the team.
Yeah.
And but we got there and they were 5 days behind. They had run into problems with one of the other characters, and they were only able to shoot him a couple moves at a time. So it was a matter of stay ready, be ready for And then I met Jet and Wu Ping when I walked on set and shook hands, and the team immediately started throwing stuff together. And when Jet and Wu Ping liked the looks of it, Jet and I would get up, we'd walk it once or twice slow, and then we'd shoot it at speed. Wow. Once we shot 3 takes. Usually it was 2, and then we'd do it all over again. And so neither one of us knew the choreography, but he would move, I'd adjust. I would move, he'd adjust, because we had 65 years worth of combined experience, between the two of us. So it was a whole lot of fun. I realized very quickly that the one problem was I'm playing a Western character, who has a Western style of fighting, and they were choreographing me as if I was Chinese. Also, the first I had met Wu Ping very briefly on a lunch hour to show him the swords I brought, and I brought aluminum. They are used to working with it, which is essentially bamboo swords. They're called chambra swords, or that are then covered in mylar and this and that, and they're light. They don't withstand a great deal of contact usually, so very often they don't. If you watch Japanese swordplay, there's very little, contact. It's a lot of avoidance and and preemptive cutting and stuff. But they were very sharp. As a matter of fact, they're on my wall in there. You can take a picture of them.
Awesome.
But he said he picked up the aluminum that, and we'd spent 3 months discussing this. With my liaison, a fellow named Mike Leader, who had gone around the world casting. And originally, I think it had been going to be 16 fighters, and they brought it down to 4. I was one of them.
Yeah.
They kept looking for a guy who was good with the sword and good with the whip, and my name kept coming up. So that was cool.
What do you know?
Yeah, but he picked up the sword. He went, pokey, pokey, pokey. And I went, oh, God, he thinks that Western swordplay is what he's seen in the movies.
It's just
with all this, exactly, and all this arm pumping, and, which it's not. So the first 3 moves they gave me were pokey, pokey, pokey. And I went, I'm not going to do that, but without... now I gave them what they wanted, which were 3 thrusts, but I gave them a lunge and then a crossover with a twist and then a redoublement of the attack.
Right.
So it's the same thing, but in keeping with, the martial practicality of the weapon and the character I was supposed to be. But I very quickly realized they were having me motivate, the cool things that Jet has done literally thousands of times.
Yeah.
So the logic of the choreography was, it's like I'm going, well, I wouldn't do it that way, but not my party. So and I finally asked, I said, I'll give you this, because I was attacking quadrants so that he could, and it was kind of funny because there were places where I had to totally commit where he was going to be, even though he wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
But then also at the same time, I said to Wu Ping, would you mind if I'll give you in that order, but if I get there in this manner instead of, this? And I guess one of the team had said, who's choreographing this? Us or the Guilo? And Wu Ping said, this Guilo knows what he's doing. So after that, it was great.
Excellent.
But it was really very exciting because I like to evolve a piece of choreography based, and do a whole energy thing. And they've been working together literally for decades. So, they don't have to say much to each other, and they work very, very staccato. And I was just kind of going, okay, I can do that. It's just there was never any. They didn't let me in on anything. It was just like, okay, what are we doing? We're doing okay. He moved. Like, gonna do this. All right, yeah. Oh, and there's some pictures on the wall in there that look like they're posed. We never posed for pictures. They were always done at full speed, and they just so the execution of structure and technique, makes the pictures look good when you stop them. That was why. See, where it really came to fruition was when I worked at Jet Li. It was basically I came in with my 30 plus years.
Yep.
And he had his 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So no matter what the other person did, that's why it looked so
Real.
Yeah. Because neither one of us knew the next move.
Right.
We would read what the other person was doing, and we would commit to where the attack was.
Yeah.
And then I do a thing where I've got a full. I never close my hand, to snap the blade.
Yeah.
That's always the last thing I do. So you can see all this, and if I have to, I cannot.
Right.
Because I was not going to be the one who hit Jet in the face.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, and like one of the first things we did, they were used to making, the jins, which is the Chinese scholar sword.
Yep.
They weren't used to making the sabers because they were a little longer, they were a little thinner, and they were a little more flexible. And in that, when we were doing the first sequence, we broke a couple. We weren't hitting terribly hard, but they hadn't quite gotten the balance down. And at one point, he did a thing where he was coming up and blocking, but he was throwing his hand into the back of his blade to essentially attack the attack.
Yeah.
And the edge of my blade bent and came around and slapped him like that. And the whole team, oh! And he goes, no, that was me. That was me. Because, I said to him when we first met and shook hands, because I looked at him and went, okay, we're not going to have this discussion, are we? He says, so I'm going to be cutting straight for your head. I'm going to be cutting, at your right at your shoulder and your chest and your hip. These are the targets I'm going to be targeting, so you'll know. And he says, oh, that's great. You're very skilled and you have a lot of experience. And he says, well, yeah, I'm very concerned. I'm very interested in your safety. And he goes, me too. And he laughed, and we got along great.
That's excellent.
So, but it was. We were as close to improvising the fight as you can get.
Wow.
It's going to start here. We're going to do a bunch of stuff in the middle. I don't remember what. And then this is how this phrase ends. Okay?
Wow.
See you on the ice.
Wow.
Incredible.